Alrighty, hey guys, it's Mason Bruner here with REISift, and we have another case study for you guys. We have Elena and Antoine Fernandez. They are standouts in the Sift community. They've been here a while, and we want to pick their brains a little bit with their Sift account, how they got into Sift, why they chose Sift, and without further ado, let's get into it. Antoine and Elena, thank you guys for being here. Just tell me briefly, or as long as you need to, what did your real estate business look and feel like before REI Sift?
You want to speak to that, Antoine?
Sure. So we had a pretty similar platform. It was kind of a prospecting database that kind of didn't have a CRM function of it. So we used that for a while, and then we had to use Podio to complement that because of lack of a CRM. So that's how we started. We started kind of organizing our data. It was very, I guess, rudimentary. It was very like, kind of not really advanced, I guess.
Sure.
So we had a data background because we both have a thing for data. So that's one thing that was important to us. As we got new lists, make sure we knew it. We just didn't have the full capabilities, or at least didn't know what we didn't know at that point. So our marketing was kind of all over the place. And then not having a CRM, we were kind of chasing our tail the entire time. So I think we got a recommendation from somebody in our mastermind community about REI Sift. And then we did the trial, and then liked it, and then signed up for I think the premium right away. And that was probably a couple years ago, and kind of night and day difference. We were able to kind of track with tags in a clean, organized way of our data, to kind of know what we marketed to, know what we need to market to. So it was beautiful. We still had that Podio CRM, and we built out a new one. So we had both. And there were some pros and cons to that, more cons. And I know Tyler hates me for saying I had Podio for so long, but we finally made the transition to 100% over REI Sift when the Smart Dialer got integrated.
Gotcha.
Also, when Podio started making all these crazy changes, that accelerated our kind of our transition over to REI Sift. So now we have everything from start to finish, from marketing to close contract, all in one platform, and just making our life so much easier right now. I don't know if you want to add anything to
that. No, you pretty much said it all. I am looking, and I think we officially joined September 4th, 2021, and we didn't start marketing until the following week using Sift, or on the 17th, 2021.
We had some issues when we input all of our data from that other platform, and I actually had to get Tyler to help me at Flipbacking Live a couple years ago. So it was an interesting story, but we got that corrected, and it's been great ever since.
Awesome. So you kind of touched on it a little bit, but if we could touch on it a little bit more, in terms of the benefits, other than like the clarity and the organization, unless that is the biggest benefit for you, what would be the biggest benefit that Sift has brought to you, in your opinion?
So I've been telling my team a lot about this, and I want Elena to kind of dive in a little bit more because she kind of handled a lot of the data marketing historically. Perfect. So I kind of equate Podio as like an Android. You can do so much stuff with the system, but it's like you don't need a lot of the stuff that the bells and whistles that they promote, or people that say you can do with that CRM, as opposed to REI Sift, because I'm an Apple person. It's kind of like the iPhone. It's exactly what you need when you need it, and it brings it front and center without all the fluff, without anything, all the extra stuff. So I like that. I like the kind of the simplicity of it. To no shit, this is what you want to use for data. This is what you want to use for kind of like Sensei Flow, exhausting your records, whatever. It puts everything front and center, what you need, and actually to run an effective business.
And I'll kind of jump in there too. Just full disclosure, Mason, I am not a business person. I'm not really a data person, if you will. I know Antoine said we're both data people, but let me explain a tiny bit. I'm like a healthcare worker. I came from medical. So I always knew about CRMs and like the beauty of having like an organized system, like for medical records, sensitive information, all of that.
Right.
And I came into the business kind of at a weird time because I was coming off maternity leave.
Okay.
And I was just kind of like doing an hour a day of work. And then what Sift made me is like the data nerd, because it's all there front and center, and it's so easy. Like someone who doesn't consider themselves like organized per se, or like, I don't know, it like organizes things for you, and it makes it easy to like just view it. Like the stacks are all there, and
Right.
you can see the address on the map. And I mean, it made me like nerdy about this stuff. So when I kind of started owning it or trying to seek ninja status, was like, it was like a switch for me.
I guess it made you appreciate data more.
Yes,
Yeah.
it certainly did. And then because of it, I appreciate Excel and, you know, a well laid out spreadsheet and things like that. So that's kind of where it started for me.
Seeking ninja status. I like that. Love to use that somewhere. So from the both of you, you guys can both answer all these questions if you'd like. As far as features and integrations, is there a feature that's kind of like your favorite, or one that stands out to you, or an integration? It sounds like it might have been smartphone, Antoine. I think that's kind of what you were saying with
I
smartphone.
think
But
that was a catalyst. I don't know if that's my favorite, but that was
sure.
definitely made it a no-brainer. I don't know. You guys have updated so much. It's hard to kind of pick one. I think right now we've been really big on the Sift line boards.
Of
We
course.
had a Trello background when we first started, the real estate business. So that's kind of a breath of fresh air looking at it that way and creating tasks and sequence on top of that. So I think for me right now, the Sift line board is kind of very
Sure.
high up there. I think you really can't, not, focus on like the integration with the texting and the cold calling and of course smart dialer. But I think the Sift line board sticks out for me right now where we're at.
Perfect.
For me, I'd say it started with the sequences, and I know the sequences led to the Sift line board. Because I remember when Tyler was first talking about it, I was like, first thing I'm going to do is make this sequence, and then
Right.
I gave myself all these tasks, and he kind of alluded to it coming at that time. And like, I'm on the TC side and operations side, and I was like, okay, this is how I'm going to use it. And we're revamping that process now. But it really started with the sequences. I think that kind of just took out all that middleman and guesswork just by automating it.
That's
I
kind
think
of
we're
cool, because it almost seems like that lines up perfectly with your transition into being a data nerd. It's like, all right, how can I automate this so I don't have to think about it? And then it's like,
Yep.
oh, then it turned into Sift line. It's like, now I can actually start thinking about it. So that's kind of cool to see that.
And another thing I want to add, and in fact, like when I use other platforms that are not REISift, I don't know if I'm allowed to say them, but like any kind of filtering whatsoever does
Yeah.
not have stacking. Like
Right.
I cannot stack using any other system, and that is huge, especially like for tagging, especially for like I can't even name it. It's so annoying to me that I can't do that. It's like I want to
Yeah.
look at this and this together and this. So that's I mean, that's really.
She's always complaining about it. I'm like, babe, you can't compare everything to that platform,
Yeah.
So that's something. The presets, that's huge. We didn't really talk about
Right.
that, but we live and die off those presets for like not only our marketing, but kind of we're trying to build that into our Sift line as well. So I think the presets are pretty important as well.
Gotcha. Okay, so transitioning here into the next question. In terms of support, like outside of the mastermind community, we all know that that's like the bread and butter of our support. But if you guys had to reach out to like the support chat at all, was there any examples that you guys can think of? How did it go for you?
Probably reach out too much. So you want to take this?
So it all kind of started with Kylie for me, because in the beginning she was the one that was the person you were talking to, and
Right.
and at first it didn't say you were talking to Kylie, but I always knew that there was like a live person on intercom. I think Antoine mentioned we had some importing issues like with our tagging, and we had incorrect mapping done when all these records were uploaded in the system. But anyway, if there was something she didn't know, she looked into it, she responded, she followed up, and at that time it wasn't something y'all could do. It needed to be deleted in bulk, and she reached out to the developer to get it done. And And that was probably like the coolest customer service experience ever, because I was chatting with a person in real time who could take actual action and solve the
Yeah.
problem.
And
then
Kylie's
now,
also like the goat of support too, by the way.
yeah,
So shout out.
that's
Kylie.
amazing. And now we I just found out about this after our most recent call with her, like where you can drop in your feedback and see how many other people have that same feedback,
Oh yeah.
instead of bugging someone necessarily, and just kind of seeing that there are other things in the community that people are, I guess, dealing with, like just like we are. So I like that.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, I think on each phase of us kind of doing more in REISift than our previous platform when we transitioned over, and now Podio, I think the staff has been kind of instrumental in that. Not only that kind of help us build out presets in the beginning, now like the Sift line boards and the task and the sequences. I don't think we would be where we're at now, like 80-90% functionality in the system without that support. Without being able to schedule those calls and talk through it, and then not like relying on another platform. Just, oh, we have a video, just go watch a video. You can live talk to somebody and talk through that issue, and they can help you kind of solve it at the end of that call, as opposed to watching an hour video, which is good, but not everyone has time for that. And things
Right.
come up in conversations that you may not even be aware that you want to get done in the platform. So that's been huge, especially the transition. It made it so I was comfortable doing it, knowing I had that support, available for the company and the team.
Gotcha.
Oh, and I don't need to, like, I guess, say what everybody wants to hear or whatever, but I love that it's there on YouTube. Tyler's got his YouTube channel, and if you're the kind of person like Antoine who's just like, let me Google that for you or look it up myself, I could find it online if I just searched in the community or searched YouTube or whatever.
Right.
But then I could also message chat, because I like to talk through things myself, and whereas Antoine is kind of like more independent, and he can do it that way and like solve problems, but like I actually need to like workshop it. So it kind of speaks to both of our styles, I think.
So if you don't mind, Antoine, could I share that? Can I read that text you sent, Tyler? And we
I
could
don't
kind of.
know exactly what I said.
It's nothing dangerous. It was the one I mentioned before we started recording about your success here. I want to get a little bit of backstory to this because it's really cool. So it's, if you don't mind, it's nothing bad. It wouldn't. It says this property has been on our radar for 2 years. First week we have the team all in REISift, we lock it up. Thinking of all the deals we might have got under contract if we made the switch sooner. Walk me through that a little bit.
So talking of stacks, talking about data being front and center, I think everyone knows the top couple names on their I guess what do you call it, your dashboard,
Right.
because every time you sign in you see it. So we had one. She's been at the top of our list for I think since December 2021, maybe.
Nope,
Really?
September 2021. I'm
Okay,
seeing.
so September. And each time we get new lists, each time we buy new records, she gets more on top of that. So she continues to stay up top. Never been able to get in contact with her through all of our marketing. And I don't remember how much we did, but we probably sent a direct mail, RBM, SMS, cold call, nothing. And when we were doing a transition, I had everyone in there. We built the sequences. It was right after I did a 90-day call with Armani, so he helped me kind of tweak some things. And then we had the call with Kylie. And then one night I was playing around with the system. I'm like, I want this lead. I want to go after this one. So I signed it to our lead managers to exhaust and get on the phone. They didn't do it. And then we moved it to a different phase in the board. Got her on the phone, and then we did a process call and an offer call. And I told my sales guy, I want this deal. I want this contract. And she did not take the cash offer, but we did a re-offer and an ovation, locked it up. And that was all within, I think, a 48-hour time frame from when I identified it. I moved it to a lead manager to call. They called right after, did the follow-up, and then did the offer and everything, and we locked it up. We're actually getting several offers on it right now. We're probably going to get a double, 2x, assignment than we typically get, our average. So that was kind of one of the ones that we thought were written off, because a lot of those ones, when you finally get in contact with, they probably sold it or it's too late.
Right.
All cards aligned, and because she was front and center in the system, I moved it over and we locked it up, and now we're probably going to get an assignment contract before the end of the day.
That's awesome. That's cool. I've been curious because I got that text like, I don't know, I think like a week ago, and I've been like, I gotta hear about this. So it's
Can
awesome
I
that we
add
got you on
some
the call.
context there, Mason?
Sure, what's up?
So it was an inherited property, and it's in the owner that we've been speaking with's name, but everything else is like, even with the county, is still in her mom's name because of a gift deed, I guess. So what we think is that the info we had at first was the mom, who passed away a few years
Right.
ago, and everyone else who was probably trying to market to her was marketing to the mom, and nobody knew that because, or that nobody knew she was deceased because everything was still in her name. So it really kind of took that sensei flow mentality to exhaust the record, call all the family members, like re-skip
Yep.
in order to like get her on the phone. And like Antoine said, I mean, we have done every single type of marketing you can think of with this person. Like when we first got it, all wrong numbers, like voicemails, disconnected, everything. So it truly was like a sensei flow type thing, and we wouldn't have, I don't think any other investor would have reached her without doing it this way.
Well, two things stuck out. One, we didn't have a status on her record, so that
Okay.
was kind of a pet peeve for mine, and it was on the first page.
He likes
Two,
to clear the first page.
yeah, two, when
Okay.
I clicked it, all the numbers weren't exhausted, and I asked her about that. I'm like, she said, "Oh, you guys work late because I did a contract call like 8 o'clock. Elena did the contract call like 8:30. I did the offer call like 8 o'clock. So we were pretty late working this lead." She said, "Oh my God, you guys work late." I'm like, "I've been trying to get in touch with you for 2 years." And she said, "Oh yeah, when my mom first passed away, I was getting all these calls, and my husband put us on all these registries and blocked our numbers, and they stopped." So I don't know what happened. If we re-skipped her recently because I saw her, without a status and got her correct number, but there's something happened in that 2 years where we got the right number and she picked up, on that call, and the rest is hopefully history in the next couple of weeks.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, that worked out well.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. So I think if it's all right with you guys, I say let's transition here into what the inside of your account looks like. It's important to know that there's not a right answer here. We just want to see how you guys do business inside of your Sift account, and maybe somebody watching this can find some inspiration or similarities or something in your business that they're like, oh man, I need that. So I'd say let's transition over and let's take a peek.
Do you want to talk about the boards, Antoine, since you that was kind of your baby to start?
How do we want to go? Do we want to go records, presets? Do we want to go boards?
Honestly, I think a smooth way. I don't know how much time we got. I don't that so. All right, so we're in Elena and Antoine's account, and they're going to show us, kind of their flow, their process of what happens when they get data into Sift and how they kind of move it through lead flows and acquisitions and all that. So take it away.
All right. So we have like a subscription from our data provider, usually comes at the beginning of the month. And we clean it up a little bit and then map everything and import it. So we have quite a few records, which we have had to get creative with, and how we, I guess, break them down by vexations.
Sure.
And do marketing based on stacks. We'll do it based on preferred zip codes. We'll do it based on, I guess, kind of what buyers are asking for. Do you have anything else there, Antoine, on how we kind of break up our marketing?
We have a limited bandwidth because we don't have a million callers and a million texters. So we do
Right.
make sure that we niche it down as much as we can. We haven't really
Okay.
cracked on how to get county data in Texas, only in certain areas.
Sure.
So we essentially start our marketing where we have an opening. So if we have records or if we have space in launch control, we'll put them there first. And if it goes there after a couple attempts or maybe a couple weeks, we'll push it through Smart Dialer now. It was Call Tools before. And then after a couple weeks there, if not everything's exhausted, we'll send it to Sensei Flow to kind of clean it up, or one of our lead managers if it's, you know, a hot kind of an area or a type of property that we're looking for. And then it'll go to exhausted, or it'll go to send direct mail.
Okay.
And that's the end of our flow. And then we just kind of, you know, do follow up
Sure.
based on that. If we're not getting a response, you know, we're going to put it back into our marketing cycle. But we usually just start where we have an opening. So sometimes we'll
Sure.
start with calling, sometimes we'll start with kind of texting, and sometimes if it's has enough, you know, kind of motivation based on what we're
Yep.
seeing, like the area, we'll start with like direct mail or something like that.
And sometimes we'll do like a big, like absentee push or something like that. So we
Yeah.
try to break it like that. These are the presets our data manager usually works with. She likes to analyze first, work them by lists, and then she's been transitioning to doing it by board most recently. So we've got acquisitions, and then we got our separate marketing channels. We don't really RVM anymore. And we only recently got back into doing direct mail. And we had a full-time Sensei Flow caller, but now that we have Smart Dialer, we pretty much do Sensei Flow with our cold callers, which is pretty
Perfect.
cool. This transition is usually like skip tracing, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What else can I tell you about this? This is kind of
Okay,
how she
cool.
breaks it down, base data, and then I forgot what the N stands for, like the number of stacks. So we had to get creative with some of these,
Yeah.
but you know, it works.
Right.
And
That's the best part.
yep. And then this
Back to
is
the
kind of
presets. So the reason I love the presets, and I don't think we do enough justice, I guess, is because I can kind of see all the stuff that we have in the system, and I can kind of see what we're marketing to. And there are times where I'm just like late at night looking at them, and then like adding some filters on top of what we already have. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, 300 new records that we haven't got any status on. So I want to push this to marketing right away. So having everything saved has been huge for us. And then we push stuff to marketing that we could have missed or maybe didn't have the bandwidth to reach because
Right.
everything is
Cool.
yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we got a mix of like small lists, big lists.
Yeah.
In our different campaigns. And she kind of has it worked up in these folders to where it automatically goes to the second attempt and the third attempt. So I know it looks like there's not a lot, but it's because she already has it like figured out.
Perfect.
I don't know. Our
Perfect.
but yeah. And Sifline,
Yeah, everybody's favorite.
yeah, everybody's favorite. So lead managers, this is where they live and breathe. And then when they have a pass off, Antoine kind of speaks this a little bit better. It gets pushed to acquisitions.
Okay.
And then they do their follow-up attempts until it hopefully goes to accepted offer and under contract.
Oh,
I just noticed a typo and that's bothering me, but anyway.
okay. I like the heavy list of things that are under contract. That's a nice
Yeah.
view. Yeah, you should be able to scroll that thing for a minute. Awesome.
I know it's still loading. That's great. And one that or two rather, that we know we need to clean up a lot are dispositions in TC, but I feel kind of like a newfound appreciation for the whole SIF line by doing this referral board. See, look, I'm in
okay.
process, Antoine. That's great.
and we're tracking now. That's the biggest thing. That we're
Yeah.
tracking. That's the most important thing.
So if it doesn't work for us, pass it to an agent for a referral fee.
Sure.
And this will allow us to not only follow up with the seller, but also the agent until it goes under contract and closes. So I'm looking forward to this being like another stream of income for us.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And just the other day, what was I doing, Antoine? I was doing like getting ready to submit for funding on a rehab. And I was like, I could make a rehab board.
Good. Oh yeah, see where properties are in terms of Yeah.
stage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm pretty excited about that. And do you want to speak to acquisitions and rejected offers?
No, it's pretty straightforward. We're still building out the other ones. The first one we started with was the lead management, and we had a full-time lead manager in here, kind of
Yeah.
testing it out. We had a lot of lessons learned. Like we were pushing stuff to kind of ghosted or dead lead too soon instead of putting it through the cold, warm, and hot sequences and tasks. So that helped us clean up a lot, and we've been actually successful getting a lot of people on the line through that way instead of trying to just remarket to them in the future with spending marketing dollars. We're letting the system kind of dictate how and when we follow up with them with a human, as opposed to just letting a follow-up sequence automate a
Right.
message to them, which they're probably seeing from a lot of investors. So it's been successful recently, and kind of excited to kind of see the progress that we get instead of like the automated messages that we get in Podio, having somebody like physically press send or physically call them and kind of seeing the results we get. So this will allow us to kind of not only do it through this board, but we're trying to build out those presets so we can kind of have those views set up
Yeah.
because see it's starting to add up with the cold, warm, and hot ones. So I think having those presets where we can see those views and see what's I guess tasks for today or tasks for this week or this month is going to be huge for our lead managers, and I have no doubt we're going to have some success with integrating this into the dialer, which is our next step.
Yep.
That's cool. Yeah. You guys definitely are leveraging Sift line well, I think. Because I mean, it's how you visualize your processes, but then bigger than that, it's how you visualize your whole business. And I love seeing how everybody uses it just a little bit differently. So it's just really cool. I think you guys are awesome. Um, Well, awesome, guys. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And thank you guys for opening up your business to us and the world. Hopefully, someone watching this gets some great value out of that. There's a lot to be heard and seen from that. And we wish you guys all the luck. And we know you guys are going to have many successes here in the future. So thanks again.
Thanks, Mason.
Thanks, Mason. Have a good one.
Yeah.